before we had the internet, the translation method used to be very bad. It was a very bad way of translating. How the easiest way to translate would just be to find a dictionary, right, of all your English words, right? We'll find a dictionary of all your English words. And then for every English word, we'll replace it with a Chinese word. But if you replace every single word in the dictionary with a Chinese word and then spell it out, like when I say I really like apples, for example, I really like apples in English, and then I try to translate in Chinese, I really like apples. So I go, what's the word for I, and then what's the word for really, and then the word for like, and then the word for apples, and then if you string them all together, it's not going to make much sense. And now, a lot of the time, especially with things like Google Translate, it uses machine learning to determine how well it translates. Have you seen on YouTube or on, I'm not sure if you use websites where you see a funny sentence, but it's a translated sentence. So it says see translation or something like that. Well, a lot of those links, when you say see this translation, it also has a link that says rate this translation. Okay, and when you say rate this translation, you're telling the website how well your machine learning has started translating this thing, because they don't actually have a person there anymore. There's no people actually there translating your text anymore. It's just a machine trying to do it, and they do it in a very very random way. So sometimes they translate a really good sentence, sometimes they translate a really bad sentence. But what they rely on is for people to check out the translation, and then if you happen to know two languages, then you would submit a review. You'd say, rate this translation. This was a very bad translation. Try again, sort of thing. And then the computer, the people who developed the API, would take all this feedback into account. But it's not just one or two people's feedback. They take thousands of people's feedback, and then that improves on how well they can translate. Language code. And then we'll start off with just a blank string. So if language equals 1, then language underscore code equals en dash ZH, right? Elif language equals 2, then language underscore code equals en dash fr for French. Okay. Does that make sense? And now, instead of putting language here, we can just put language code inside this parameter here, inside this parameter for the dictionary. Now we can have a go. Save it, run it. Welcome to the Gary Translation Service. What is your name? Gary. What would you like to translate? I really like apples. What language do you want to change it to? Type 1 for Chinese, type 2 for French. 2. And then it's going to go and hopefully translate to French. Oh no, because it has to print it out. It didn't comment it out the printout. Okay, so let's do it again. Okay, Gary Translation. My name is Colonel. What would you like to translate? I really like bananas. Bananas. 2 for French. And then it sends off the request. And then this is French. I really like bananas.